Joining me now to discuss is criminal defense attorney and former New York prosecutor Peter Frankel. Peter, thank you very much for being here. Obviously we're talking about this top story and how tragic it is. First, I just want to get your reaction because obviously we're talking about political violence and what can be done to prevent this from happening again. I'll get your reactions first.
Good morning, Laura. Thank you so much for having me. Well, you just focused on, I think, what is really the most significant topic here, because as we know, there have been state charges filed in Utah against Mr. Robinson. And the question that remains now is whether or not the Department of Justice is going to be able to also file charges against him and have parallel prosecutions. And typically, homicides are handled at the state level. The federal government doesn't typically get involved in those. But if the Department of Justice can make an argument that this was a politically motivated murder, then I could see them bringing charges under a theory of domestic terrorism.
Interesting. One of the things that we've been talking about are the political threats that he had also faced. Let's listen to what Kirk's close friend told NewsNation about what he was dealing with weekly.
Charlie got death threats every single week of the year. Almost every single event he went to, he was getting death threats. This was something that he lived in. He never talked about it. Even though he knew the threats, he said what he said was, the kids always come and the kids want me there. And he went for them. And I really want to stress that in whatever I say about Charlie, is that this wasn't about him and it wasn't about followers. It was actually about meeting people.
Okay, so he knew the dangers on the daily, and obviously he wanted to be there. He had a huge crowd, and we're going to talk more about what security looked like and if there needs to be people up on rooftops watching out. We'll get into that later. But, does this attack show how the gaps are and how the threats are handled and what security should be looking at political events and how it can change, because something has to change?
I think it really does, Laura, because Charlie had his own security team that traveled with him. But the fact of the matter is, and we've seen this before, there wasn't the level of the threat has to dictate the amount of security that is present. And clearly in this instance, there wasn't a sufficient amount of security. Now, look, law enforcement did a great job after the fact. They were able to get photos out to start the wheels in motion in getting this individual identified. He was arrested within 2 days. Apparently, he confessed. That's all well and good, but the problem becomes going forward, whether or not these events, outdoor events, should even continue to take place. And if so, is there a sufficient amount of security that can be put in place to ensure that this doesn't happen again? And I'm not so sure that there can be.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.